Hey artists, we're going to make these amazing owls in their tree. Follow along with me and I'll show you all the steps to create your own. All right, to get started, we're going to start drawing the owl. We don't want to draw right at the top or we won't have room for his feathers on top of his head. So we need to go down about a hand space down. And right here, we're going to draw two really nice big eyes. I'm going to go about that space over. In the middle, I'm going to do a curve shape and then a V shape. Now, I have options here. If I wanted to, I could draw the inside of the eyes looking this way, or I could draw the inside of the eyes looking the other way if I want my owl looking this direction. Another option would be, if you have your one eye, you might have this eye closed. So you could have kind of a winking owl with one of his eyes closed. It is up to you how you want to do the eyes. The second part is inside of the first circle, we're going to draw a second circle. And then here we're going to just put a few white spots for the shines of the eye. And now we are ready to trace with our marker. Go ahead and trace over the lines, hiding that pencil line. And then you're also going to go ahead and color in around those white spots. So the pupil of the eye has a little shine spot, but is colored in all black. Now that I've got the eyes colored, I'm going to start just putting a light value of color around where his body's going to be. And it doesn't really matter what colors you use as long as they're light, because this is just kind of the undercoat of color that we're going to have for our owl. So I'm just going to kind of combine some colors, add more water so it's nice and light. Let's see. And I don't want to get any paint on the nose or eyes because I'm going to go back and color that differently. And they have the feathers that come up. Okay, now that we have that down, we're ready to start using different brush strokes to add all of the texture and awesomeness to our owl. Now, if you're like me and you got some puddles going from watering your paint down, you might just go back with the tissue and just blot up the puddles so you don't have really wet spots. That way I'm ready to paint. All right, I'm gonna start around his eye, and I think I'll use some purpley color. It really doesn't matter what colors you choose. I am going to look at some different owls that I found on this clip art, just to kind of see the shape of the different feathers on different owls. I think I'm kind of looking at this gray owl shape, but you can use any of these as inspiration. You can see the different directions the feathers go and their short wispy lines. So we're going to be trying to create those short wispy lines as we are going. So I might have kind of those short lines, and so I'm just kind of lightly making little short lines for those feathers. I see how some of these feathers go around the eye, kind of framing. And I'm just doing really little short wispy lines to look like those feathers. And that's what's going to be really fun about this, is we're going to be adding lots and lots of feathers and different layers of feathers. So I might put this purple on here, and I might go back and add all kinds of other colors by the time I'm done. So I'm just going to put some little feathery shapes in here. And they might be going up and down. I might have the feathers going this direction. So our brush strokes are really what make our owl look so cool. It's all the different little short lines we make to show the feathers. I'm using a little liquid watercolor, but we can also use just a palette, so that way we have some different options of colors. I know for the eyes, I'm wanting to put that yellow. With a little bit of that bright orange. And he's just really starting to look amazing. So I could go back and get some purple. I can start adding some of the feathers down here on his wings. And we have different brushes that have different textures. So I might get this thicker brush. And I could add some texture here. I could try my flat brush. Ooh, look at those little short lines. So if I don't put too much paint on, I can get that real wispy look with the paintbrush. And I can see all these layers are coming together, and he's starting to really start looking like he has some thick feathers on him. I might wash my brush clean, grab another color, and I'm just going to keep adding more and more short lines and layers. I'm going to add a little black to this color. So I might kind of go like this and just add some little short lines. Could also add some color to his beak. And I'll just keep adding those feathers in. All right, I've just been going back over, making more and more layers of those short little choppy lines that make it look like he's got all these different feathers. And I've been switching my brushes around, and so I'm just kind of taking colors that I think would look good on him, and then I dip in here, and then I'm just putting like little short choppy lines and adding those feathers in layer after layer. So you can see, like, we started with that undercolor, then it was like a pinkish, then this fuchsia, then I put this green on top. So really don't just assume you're done. Keep going back and adding more layers on top of your beautiful owl, and that's what's going to make it look like he has these really thick, awesome feathers. Okay. Then, once you are satisfied with your owl and you think, you know what, he's looking pretty good, I'm ready to move on, we're going to set him over to the side and let him dry. And we're going to work on our tree. Oh, he's looking so cute. But I think I am pretty much satisfied. He looks wonderful. Okay, let's work on that tree. Using our colored pencil sticks, you're going to create your moon on either side of your page, wherever you would like it. And this shows up nice and bright on our black paper. And then we can also kind of add some moonlight coming around. If you want to take your tan, you can add that also. With your white, you can add some stars. So we're just kind of setting up our nighttime sky to then add our owl and his tree. Okay, when you get your brown paper, I've got some different shades of brown crayons that'll help us make that wood texture. Now, my owl is, I don't know, about as big as like if I put my hand out all the way. So I don't want to make the hole too big. And if it's too small, I can always make it bigger. So I'm gonna start kind of with that to see if that's big enough to see my owl poking through. Then I'm gonna add some of those kind of wood grain lines just to make it look more like a tree. Sometimes there's those little wood knots, little dark places on your wood. And then the lines kind of go around. And we have different shades of brown that we can add to it. I could even take some light colors and add some highlights. So once you're satisfied with your wood grain, then you can go ahead and cut out the little hole where our owl is hiding. So what I like to do is take my paper and fold it a little just to get a nice cut in the center. And then you're gonna go through and carefully cut out around the little hole. All right, I went ahead and cut that out. I'm gonna save this in case we wanna use any of the leftover to add to our tree. And I went ahead and I cut out our owl. So he's ready for some habitat rehoming. So now we just need to take the background page that we created with our moon, and we're going to take our glue stick. And we're gonna put glue up and down on the front part of our page. And we're going to put it down on the paper. And then we roll it over, and we're going to be putting the glue on the other half to glue it down here. I don't want it to be too big, so I'm gonna put them pretty close together. So again, I'm gonna take my glue on the front part of my tree, and I have to really get a couple layers on there to make sure it's gonna stick well. Roll it over so it's almost touching the other side. And you can kind of give it a little pat down so it's not sticking up too much. Now I have this blank space, so we have some extra half sheets of brown. And we can just take that extra half sheet, add some glue, and we'll just slide it right inside to create the inside of the tree. Perfect. Now we can take our little owl and see where we want to put him inside of our tree so you can see him peeking out. Oh wow, he is looking so cool. So I'm just again going to take a glue stick, Get the back of our owl all around the edge. And a nice swirl through the middle. And I'm gonna slide the owl into his tree habitat. Oh, that looks so cool to see him peeking through. And glue him down. That's looking amazing. Then if you want to, you can take any of the extra pieces of brown. You could add just a little texture to show like another little wood knot on here. You could also trim a little bit and make a little branch coming off your tree. Maybe like this. So we'll put the glue on the back side and glue that down to our page. And if there's anywhere else you would like to add some branches, you can do that. Maybe over here. This is looking so cool. And when you're satisfied with all of these extra details on your tree, you are finished with your amazing textured painted owl and his 3D habitat. I can't wait to see the owl and tree that you create.